The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Entrepreneurs Ascending, where we believe in a better life through better business. Here, we help you aspire to greatness, achieve your goals, and ascend to new heights. Whether you're starting, scaling, or exiting, we're here to empower you with inspiring stories, enlightening discussions, and transformative resources to help you accelerate your success. Now, it's time for Entrepreneurs Ascending. Hello, welcome to Entrepreneurs Ascending, and this is Matt Barbie, and I'm also the founder of Time for Success. We help business owners every day to accelerate to their vision. So what is that vision, though, and how do we get there? Now, there's the execution component, right? That's the daily stuff that we do. But our strategy is how we set ourselves apart in a way that it's not just through grind, it's actually through smart business. It's how we create a market dominating position or a unique selling proposition. But more than how that is in our marketing, it's also part of every conversation that we have with our clients, from sales through customer service, through tech support, through just relationship building, account management, development of that as well. And then furthermore, it's in how we fulfill on the promises that we made through that whole marketing and sales process. And then the systems that make all that stuff run all comes from our strategy. For instance, if you think about a company like IKEA versus maybe a custom furniture store, maybe Amish furniture. There's a wonderful Amish furniture store location here outside of where I'm at in O'Fallon, Missouri, outside of St. Louis. And with this Amish furniture store that's all pre-made, you can potentially get something that's custom made for you. But when it shows up at your house, you don't have to reassemble it yourself. Versus IKEA, where they've got lots of beautiful furniture and it's fairly cost effective. But one of the ways that they make it cost effective is that you have to build it yourself, right? Or you can even find furniture online through Amazon or a lot of these places where, again, it's shipped to you. So this comes from your strategy, because there's a strategy of being cost effective, as well as fairly simple for people to get into their home. They don't necessarily need a moving truck and 6 or 8 guys just to lift up that couch to get it in, right? Pivot. Sorry, it's a Friends reference. Hopefully you get that. But they might just need just to throw it in the back of their compact car, and they can carry it upstairs themselves, and they can put it together in their small studio apartment. So those come again from strategy. When we think about strategy, there's this term like strategic planning. I want to tease that apart a little bit, because they're not quite the same. So there's, again, the strategic side of it, the strategy, and how do we want to go to market? Who do we want to be? What do our clients need us to be? What does our target market need us to be? And how do they need us to fulfill? And where are they at? These are all things about that strategy. And then how we go about making that into a reality. What steps are we going to take? That's when we're getting into planning. So we're going to leave kind of planning off to maybe some other shows and some other times, but let's focus on strategy. Okay. So, what does it mean to have a market dominating position? Now, I'm not one of these types of folks that necessarily love to be overly aggressive. I think there's a time and a place for a certain amount of assertiveness or whatever, but I'm not necessarily about one that's like, well, you got to dominate, you got to leave everybody behind, you got to crush everybody, you got to crush your goals. That's great. And for some personalities that really works. And sometimes it's good to have a little bit of energy to kind of pull us forward. But at the end of the day, it really, really is about the consistent habits that we have as people and the systems that we have in our organization, that organism, like we've talked about before. But that is really what is going to drive long-term success. But a market dominating position means that you are honed in to the people that you serve best, that who love the way that you like to do things, or that maybe that you feel is the best way to do things, that really appreciate that value in that space. And we're going to figure out how to create that company around those needs, around that market's hot button issues, their pain points. They have things that they don't want in their life, that they want to get rid of. And there's also things that they want but they don't have in their life yet. And that's where you come into play, to make their life better in some way by taking away the pain or giving them the pleasure of a new thing, new idea, new concept even. But it's still something new, right? So that market dominating position means that you've got your systems and everything dialed in so well to those needs that nobody else can really compete with you, right? Think about Amazon. Amazon has a core strategy of making it easier for their people to buy and get what they want, for their customers to buy and get what they want as quickly as possible. Like, that's their core strategy: quick buying, quick delivery. And so they've developed all of their systems around that. They have the one click buy. Sometimes you can order things and get it to your door faster than you can even drive home from work. My stepmother was talking about that a few months ago, where she ordered something, I guess, a couple hours before she was leaving work, and it beat her home. That's incredible. But that was because they always had this drive, this passion for creating those kinds of systems to make that happen. And they're doing drones and whatnot in other markets to even make that even possibly faster and whatnot. So it's that it comes from that core strategy. And that strategy, that market dominating position, that strategy comes from that vision. What kind of company do you want to be? Okay. Where do you want to go in the next year, 10, 25 years? We got to think about, like, what do we want the world to look like when we are at our peak, when we've achieved our purpose, right? Our mission for being. And so that vision then kind of comes back from that purpose. Why do we exist? So for Time for Success, it's better lives by better business. And that's my coaching company, our Time for Success. And it was started not just because we want to help people get the next Maserati or the next Lambo. That's cool and all, but not at the risk of having a better life, not the risk of the relationships, not the risk of the people in your organization, your A players that you really need to take care of. And we want them to have better lives. So I like working with entrepreneurs who don't just want what's great for them, but they want what's great for their spouses and their children and maybe even their pets. They want to be able to afford sending their pet to a nice training center, or if they got to go on vacation, they can't take the pet with them, they're going to send them to a nice pet daycare or something like that, right? But also for their employees, and their employees spouses and children and pets and whatnot. And they want to create this community impact, right? So our mission is this ripple effect of better lives by creating better businesses, healthier people who run these businesses and make these businesses happen. And then because they're healthier, because they're better leaders, because they're better communicators, because they're better at making people happy and giving people what they need at an appropriate value, well, that also helps their customers to have better lives. And maybe some of that stuff that we helped the internal team with even rubs off on their customers and their clients' lives. Maybe they learn a few things about communication and relationship, and they're like, wow, that customer service is impeccable. Maybe I want I want to do more of that in my business. Maybe I want to be better. And I mean it's about inspiring people to be better. And I bring all this up because I mean that's even why we do entrepreneurs ascending. It's another channel for us to help create better lives by better business. So all of this comes from our purpose, our mission for being, right? We want to create these better lives. And then the vision is of course, like I said, that ripple effect. We have stronger communities because economically they're stronger. We've got healthier financially. We got businesses that are healthier financially. So that creates better economic opportunity within communities, right? Local businesses, healthier businesses, more money spent locally and spent around the areas that they live and work. But also because relationships are better. People hopefully live their lives better. Maybe because they're better leaders, they get involved in one of the local nonprofits, or maybe the local Elks Lodge, or maybe the local HOA, and help that to be more successful. And they show better leadership skills that help other people learn. So you see, this vision that we have is for stronger local businesses, stronger communities, better lives overall, right? So that comes back into that market dominating position, right? How do we best serve those entrepreneurs who want to personally grow? And they're not just about crushing the competition, but they're actually about, wait, how do I create better lives for myself? I care about my employees. I want better lives for them. I want to teach them how to be better leaders. And I want to show them how to build the right kind of habits that win, but also be great communicators, also be great at relationships and developing relationships. And how do we get involved with our local community centers, and how do I maybe give more money, or maybe give more of my time, or I'm able to just positively impact those around me. So that comes into, again, how are we different, right? So for you, if you are, let's say, a contractor, right? Let's say you're a roofer. How are you going to be different? I was having a conversation with a roofer the other day, and he said, well, it's just a roof. Right. Yes. It's just a roof. Everybody needs a roof over their head, and it might not be much different from the roof that the neighbor has. We get some nice architectural shingles, and we call it a day. But some people want the decorative shingles. Some people want to make sure that they've got the decorative shingles, and maybe they've got the copper gutters because they just love that beautiful look, especially as it turns a little bit more of that greenish color and whatnot. Maybe they want the slate, which is getting harder and harder to have, from what I hear from an insurance perspective. But there's so much more to it if you're talking with the right target market. Now, if you're talking with the target market that and all you want to do is just insurance work, and you're just talking with people that just want to get the insurance work done, and they don't have to worry about any of the
any of the little nuances, and they just want you to be able to take it, run with it, and just kind of show them and be that guy and that Sherpa and make it really easy, then great. That's one target market, to build your systems around. But if you want the ones that the retail type roofing, where they're going to be the designer shingles, the nicer exteriors, they actually really care about the entire way that the house looks altogether. They care about the color of the shingles versus the color of the windows and the what are the things around the windows? What are those called? Yeah, blanking on that. Anyway, all that stuff. Or maybe even like the flowers. They really care about the colors, all that. So those are two different target markets, and that means that you're going to have a couple of different strategies, right? Strategy one for a market dominating position is, you know what, we're going to streamline it. We're going to make it easy. We're going to talk, we're going to educate you. We're going to talk to the insurance companies even maybe for you. And we are going to actually maybe even lay it out. Maybe we've got like a nice tracking system that shows you, okay, so this is the step that you are in the process. So, we've already filed the claim with your insurance company. Boom, this is next. This is your progress bar, kind of like, the Domino's pizza progress bar. If you have something like that can show your clients the steps that you're taking them through, those are the kind of people that you're trying to work with. The people who just want it easy and simple, and they just want the insurance company to take care of it. They want to make sure that they get, it's paid for fully, but the insurance company's taking care of it. Versus somebody who is, in that retail space, and they don't necessarily care as much about the price and how long it takes. Maybe they've got a multi-million-dollar house, but they want to be able to see the different options, the different colors, and they want to be able to talk with their interior designer or their exterior designer or their gardener, or they just want the home to look perfect. You're going to have to sit down with them and actually do more of a consultative meeting. Of course, you can charge more for that, right? So, but then how does that strategy and that market dominating position? So you're going to take that strategy and you're going to market to those folks differently. You have to think about what are their pain points, and that's what's going on in their heads and their hearts. But then also, where are their eyes and their ears? So we take that market dominating position and we have to figure out where are those kinds of people hanging out at, so that we can market directly to them, right? And so this is why it's so important from nose to tail to understand who you are, sure, of course, but who is on the other side of every one of those transactions. Even if you're B2B, guess what? Your strategy has to be for people and the needs of people on the other side. It has to be based on actual pain points that people are having as leaders of an organization. Whoever it is that you talk with, whether it's the CEO, the CFO, the CSO, the CIO, the CTO, or maybe you're just talking to an HR manager, or maybe you're just talking to some, purchaser somewhere within the organization. You have to understand what they need. You have to just ask the question, because you cannot just market to people just like you. Unfortunately, you can't just create a business around what you want, because it might ultimately end up that you are the only person that would ever buy from you. And that is, unless you're independently wealthy, that kind of cyclical cycle, that just doesn't work, right? You can't just be the only one buying from yourself and then fulfilling for yourself. It just doesn't work. So, you need to be able to figure out like who enjoys what you bring to the table, and create a business around them. So again, even if you're B2B, where are those CEOs at? Where are the CTOs at? Um, they might be at, sure, the conventions and whatever. Maybe you can get in front of them at an association meeting or something like that. But but if you don't necessarily know what their pain points are, again, we go from the heads and their hearts to the eyes and the ears, right? But this all flows again from strategy. So let's go over some of the key points that you have to have within your strategy. Okay, so we talked a little bit about how we have to have our purpose, our mission. What is driving us? I like to think of that as the fuel for your organization, because if you hire people who are not inspired or at least a little excited by your purpose, then they're not going to be A players. They're not going to be around for very long. And a lot of people just say, well, our purpose is to hook up people's electrical stuff. Our purpose is to put the roof on. Our purpose is to, tell some people how to run their businesses better. That's not very inspiring. I don't think that is going to really get people to be excited. And so you're going to get those kind of people who are kind of disengaged, maybe, who are kind of like unexcited about what you're doing. But if you, as an electrician, say, you know what, we want to keep people's homes safe. We want to help light up their lives, right? We want to give them like home automation, maybe, like maybe you specialize in that area. So we want home automation that's going to help keep them safer, right? Maybe if all you do is the electrical for new builds, you still got to think about like your purpose is not just to slap some wires into a wall. It's got to be deeper about that. You're giving somebody a home where they can raise their kids and they know that their kids are going to be safe. There's not going to be an electrical fire. I've known a couple people recently who've had fires in their homes, and it might not be an electrical fire, but fires are devastating. Basically, everything has to be thrown away because the chemicals and whatnot in the walls, they get into just basically everything, or it can be just a total loss, or everything's just sopping wet from the fire department, which, thank you to the fire department, the first responders. It's not your fault. You're doing your best to save folks and what they have, but that's just the nature of what happens. So if you just hire people who just think, oh, well, we're just slapping some wires on, they get lazy. They don't pay attention. They don't care about SOPs. They don't care about checklists. And they just do it enough to where like nobody will know the difference. Nobody's going to see it. It's going to be hidden behind a wall, right? You have to have a purpose that's going to attract the right kind of people, because I'm so tired of hearing people complain about, oh man, this person's terrible. It's so hard to find good people and whatnot. Well, you're not building the kind of business that good people want to work for. You're not building the kind of business that, even in the trades, a lot of people want things to be the old school ways, but I'm sorry, the old school ways are really what drove a lot of people out of the trades. Hazing was almost a part of an expectation of being a part of the trades, right? Somebody would go and work there, and people would just be giving them a hard time all the time. And people would say, well, I don't really care about your needs. You better just get out there and you better just do your job. Not caring about family or health or any of that. And now we're in a society where it's like, hey, it's hard to find these kind of people, and we want to blame them. Well, I'm sorry, that's just you're kind of part of the problem. There's a root cause to all this, right? So we want to bring some more purpose into what we do, because we want people with some sort of sense of purpose and sense of values. Now, values are not just some pretty things that we put on the wall. It's not just some words that we like to sound off on. Values are, like, if you think about our vision being up on the top of the mountain of where we're trying to go, and that purpose, that mission is kind of the fuel that drives that proverbial bus that everybody's in, that we're taking everybody up to the vision together. Well, the values are kind of like those guardrails to keep us from flying off the edge of the cliff and that bus exploding in a fiery wreck and destroying everything that we've been trying to build, taking everybody else out with us, right? Or maybe it just kind of goes off the road a little bit, but we have to climb our way back up, because those values are what most conflicts in a workplace are really around. A misunderstanding of what I thought that you were supposed to do. So those values are kind of like those expectations of how we are supposed to behave and treat each other and what we're supposed to do in an organization, I mean, those are core to the culture that we develop. And there's an organizational culture, which again is those expectations of, how we are supposed to treat each other, those expectations of how we're supposed to treat our customers, those expectations of behaviors and maybe even some beliefs that we might share. And so we have to be very explicit about what are our values that we hold dear, and then what are they not? What does it look like? What does it not look like? And these are going to be core for how we are going to hire people, but then our customers are going to see that. And these are going to lead into how we fulfill on what our promise is, our brand promise. What is it that we are promising our customers and our clients that we are going to do for them better than everybody else out there, right? Are we going to have the best implementation? Are we going to be faster? Are we going to be the first ones to show up at a work site and the last ones to leave? Which again, that goes into like whether or not your people are actually passionate about what they do. Are we going to be the best partners? Are we going to have the fastest ROI for you? What is your brand promise? You have to have some promises that you're telling your clients that you're going to have, that they're going to get. Are they going to get a 5-star experience every time? And then what does that 5-star experience look like? Because then that's going to drive the steps that we take our customers through to fulfill on those promises. We want that 5-star experience, but we want the 5-star process to drive that. But those brand promises, again, tie back into our market dominating position, because that ties back into the specific market that we're going after and what their pain points are and what they need. Right? So if you want to gain that strategic advantage, you have to figure out what is your special thing that you do that nobody else does. What are the bottlenecks in your industry, right? For a lot of, let's say, even a plumbing company, a lot of the bottlenecks are around just quickly being able to fulfill with quality and then being able to get to the next job. And so being able to have scheduling that their customers can rely on. A lot of home service companies run into this sort of thing. So how can you create a strategic advantage around getting rid of that bottleneck within your company, as an example? And it's so important for you to be able to share your strategy with your employees so they can be able to share it with everybody else within the organization. They can be able to share it with their customers, and it's going to drive every aspect of what they do. So you gotta ultimately look back at, is your strategy creating a market dominating position that's helping you drive sustainable growth and sustainable margins? Because if you don't have profit, with all the revenue in the world, means nothing. It's just a number that you can shout out from the rooftops with pride. Oh, my business is $1 million business. Well, we need to be a profitable $1 million business. And with the right kind of strategy, with the right kind of foundation, you can have your specific niche that nobody else can touch, because you are the best at fulfilling in that area. You are the best at the promises that you make to your customers. You're able to fulfill on that in a way that, they're willing to pay whatever price you set, because you're the best. They're going to be the happiest, and they're going to be the safest, and they're not going to have any issues because of what you bring to the table. So you're going to be able to charge whatever prices and be able to keep that, and have a great team that keeps things efficient, and the systems that are going to be able to back that up to make sure that you're fulfilling on all those promises. So thank you so much for your time this week on how to gain the strategic advantage. Hopefully you understand more about the difference between just the strategy versus the planning and making these things happen. So next time we will have Jeff Koziatek with us talking about actually the values in a conversation, how important those are as individuals and how they drive our ability to achieve our dreams. So hopefully there's kind of that segue there. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you for being with us today. But now is the time to put what we talked about into practice. Remember, your family, employees, and community are depending on you to rise up and win. The great news is you're not alone. You're part of a resurgence of entrepreneurs who are ready to take their business, life, and impact to the next level, and we're going to do it together. This show is powered by Time for Success, where we help business owners every day who want more freedom and wealth while building a legacy of positive impact. Please follow Time for Success on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube for more helpful strategies and tools for creating the business and life of your dreams.